from 3 News Now and the Omaha World-Herald. This is Omaha Sunday Morning with Jennifer Griswold.
This week on Omaha Sunday Morning, a groundbreaking ceremony with a special meaning. The legacy of fallen officer Carrie Orozco lives on through the youth in Omaha she cared so passionately about. The emotional event paying tribute to her and the mission behind the project. And from the Friday night lights of Texas football to Memorial Stadium, packed with close to 90,000 Husker fans. One of the Cornhuskers' top recruits is ready to suit up in the red and white, anxious to get on the field and help bring all the old glory of Nebraska football back to Lincoln. Women wearing headscarves in the sports world is relatively new. Noor Ahmed is one of the first collegiate golfers in NCAA history to compete wearing a hijab. Noor is walking her own path at UNL, choosing to wear the hijab despite the name-calling and glares. Omaha World-Herald visual journalist Sarah Hoffman on the woman standing proud for her faith and family.
I played a lot of sports growing up. I was a gymnast and a soccer player, and I swam as well. And my dad played golf for fun. Wasn't a great player, but loved the sport. So his whole goal when we got introduced to sports was that one day we would play at the collegiate level and graduate without student loans by earning a scholarship. I grew up watching college football, so I knew the grandeur of, Nebraska football and what it means to, represent the N. And so I took a visit out here and I felt right at home when I got here. I love being the underdog. That's something that I like. I think it makes me better playing with a chip on my shoulder and playing like I have something to prove. And especially when I started wearing the hijab, I felt like, okay, now everyone knows. No other golfer, in my area played, that way. So I have to be a good representative of, my faith and, my family. And, being at the collegiate level, I only know of 2 other women who have competed with a headscarf on. I would hope that there are more. I'm sure there are, but it's a sign of modesty. And that's why, we choose to wear it. But for me, it's also a way of showing people, what my faith is and who I am. I think I always grew up knowing that people look at me differently, and when I was really young, I didn't understand why or for what reason. And then obviously as I grew older, you understand it and you understand how to live your life dealing with that. I've been refused service since I've been here, and I've been called racial slurs. That's not shocking, and I think when I tell other people who don't experience that, they're very shocked, and how can that happen here? I've lived here my whole life, and to me that's something that I've been taught will happen to me growing up here, and you just have to live your life. I think it's, an American problem and a problem in the whole world in general, but it wasn't something that I thought that I would escape by coming here. I knew that I would, also deal with it here, but in coming to Nebraska, I wanted to, explore and kind of live somewhere different than where I grew up and surrounded by people that are different than the people that I, grew up around. People, are going to look at me differently, but once they get to know me and get to know people who are different than them, it's very humanizing.
Noor sees her place in Lincoln as a chance to break a barrier. The first athlete at Nebraska, first in the Big Ten, likely the first in Division I golf history to compete wearing a hijab. The country's top horse riders are calling Omaha home this weekend, all part of the International Omaha competition. The event brings hundreds of the top horses to the CenturyLink Center. Several events going on this weekend featuring national and local competitors. 3 Olympic medalists are on hand to teach young riders at the event. The competition runs through the day today. Things wrap up later this afternoon. Now, a touching story filled with so many different emotions. It will make you cry, yet bring a smile to your face. An 11-year-old cancer patient recently celebrated her birthday and received a huge surprise: hundreds of paper daisies. A gift fitting for her because her name is Daisy. As Lindsay Thies shows us, the moment was overwhelming for the little girl who has brought so much hope, love, and joy to others.
Whoa on that.
It's Monday morning at the Buffett Cancer Center. And while it's not a place you'd normally think of as bright or cheery,
They're so cute.
that's exactly the feeling in this lobby. It's all for 11-year-old Daisy Aguiano, who everyone here just knows as Daisy.
She's awesome.
Daisy's fighting Ewing sarcoma. It's a rare cancer that she beat once at age 9.
Giving up is bad. You hear me? Giving up is bad.
That attitude, that positivity has inspired many.
Thanks for being my hero.
Then late last year,
They confirmed my worst nightmare. My cancer returned. I burst into tears again.
Everybody wants to do something for people, but they don't know what to do.
enter Ashley Brame, a relative stranger who was inspired with an idea of what to do. A cancer survivor herself, Brame met Daisy 2 years ago in passing, and she heard about Daisy's recent diagnosis. So she shared a blog post asking for paper daisies for a birthday surprise. Flowers came in from Florida to Pennsylvania, Iowa, and Nebraska, even as far as Alaska.
Happy birthday to you.
All for this moment, for this little girl with a huge spirit.
Birthday, dear Daisy.
A floral arrangement with hundreds of blossoms of love, plus personalized quilts,
It says, Happy Birthday, Daisy.
crafts and art supplies, letters,
Hope you get to feeling better.
and a birthday flower crown.
Can I try it on?
Yeah.
Most of these were from people who have never met Daisy, some from others who have maybe met her once,
Thank you.
each sending a message for the girl who has motivated them.
I met Daisy when I was in treatment here having a stem cell transplant. If you see a child doing this with a big smile on their face, you just figure, I can do it too.
Just saying thank you so much. Flowers, the flowers.
And in true Daisy fashion,
Is it your birthday?
Here you go.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
the birthday festivities didn't stop there.
Daisy wants to give you a daisy for her 11th birthday.
Here you go.
Thank you. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
The brave, bright patient paid it forward.
Thank you.
We've been following Daisy's story since 2016. We hear a lot about this sweet girl because she is open about her life and struggles. It has helped put a face on childhood cancer. Daisy's fighting hard with the second round. She's gone through surgery and physical therapy. Through it all, she still has that bright attitude. From Texas to Nebraska, Cam Jones says he wants to be a legend, and this fall he'll be wearing Husker red. When Omaha Sunday Morning continues, we take you to the halls of his high school. In his own words, his plans for himself, his team, and why the four-star recruit chose Nebraska when plenty of schools hope to sign him. Husker football is all abuzz right now. Fans ready to take on the new season with the team. Right now, one of Nebraska's highest-rated recruits from the 2018 class is gearing up for his big move to the Big Red. Omaha World-Herald visual journalist Brendan Sullivan on four-star safety Cam Jones and his drive and love for football.
Nebraska fans take their college football. That's how we take our high school football out here. We bleed barbecue, country music, and football. So yeah, it's huge down here. It's a big thing.
Normally when you get a kid who comes into a program who has 20 Division I offers, four-star, all the hype, 10,000 Twitter followers and all this, it could be a struggle sometimes because those kids sometimes get a little over themselves, heads a little swollen. But when he came in, it was just a good fit.
Cam Jones, Mansfield High School in Mansfield, Texas. I will be playing for Nebraska Cornhuskers next year.
The natural ability that he has, you know, once he gets to Nebraska and really gets into a weight room, you know, the ceiling is just so high for him.
Once I put that helmet on, I'm a totally different person, man. I got this attitude where I'm the baddest thing walking. I just want to be the best Cam Jones I can be. And if that's a Nebraska legend, then I'll take it. If it's a player that just was a starter but, you know, helped the team win a national championship in some shape or form, I'm all right with that. I just want to, I want the best for Nebraska, and I want the best for me and my teammates and my future teammates, even though I haven't even met everybody. I already love them because we're teammates, we're brothers.
His stats speak for itself. You know, he probably averaged 15 tackles a game, at least 1 or 2, you know, ooh moments where you hear from the crowd, ooh, you know, one of those type hits. And the scary thing about Cam is Cam don't know how good he could be, you know. He hadn't even tapped into it yet, I don't think. So I think, you know, we look back a couple years from now, I'm going to be excited to see where he's at and, you know, what kind of name he's making for himself down there in Lincoln.
When I walked into Memorial Stadium for the first time, I felt amazing. It was empty besides the recruits that was there, but I just looked up and just a vision came in my mind. The vision was it being the 90,000 plus people there and sold out game, and we're on the field hyped up before kickoff, our kickoff return, and they playing that "Can You Feel It?" I chose Nebraska because of the coaching staff. I really believe in the coaching staff and their abilities to change the program around. I'm a big fan of college football, and I know that once it was Nebraska. So I want to bring them back on top, and, you know, help be a part of that journey to bringing us back on top. And just the fan base is amazing, man. They make it feel like we're all family. I just love being under the lights when it comes to football, you know, because I feel like that's a place where I can be me. Without being judged and everything. And me under the helmet and me without the helmet are two different people. So I get to express the other side of me. I want to be a part of history. I want to be a legend in some shape or form, and I know we would do it.
A lot of excitement for him. The Huskers have started spring practice, getting ready for the big spring game, and there's a lot of anticipation building for the new season. Tickets for the spring game sold out. The athletic department just released another 1,000 last week and will release them through a lottery system. The 2018 Red-White game is Saturday, April 21st. A North Omaha field where children play is getting a whole new look as it pays tribute to a fallen Omaha police officer. Top city officials, fellow officers, and relatives broke ground on a very special project earlier this week at Miller Park. In May 2015, Officer Carrie Orozco was shot and killed as she was trying to make an arrest. She spent much of her personal time volunteering with the PACE program. Many knew her as Coach. Part of her legacy is the growth of that program. That's why the field at Miller Park, named in her honor, is getting a makeover. Reporter Megan Stewart with the emotional event and the mission.
An event filled with Carrie Orozco's legacy, both big and small.
I want to thank Carrie's mom, Ellen, and her husband, Hector, for sharing Carrie with the world. She was a special woman, and we love her to death, and we miss her.
She was a dedicated volunteer for youth baseball in the PACE program. Ground has now broken on renovations at the Carrie Orozco Memorial Ball Field in North Omaha. It will feature new turf, a new scoreboard, and LED lights. Members of the PACE program say they're honored to remember her each time they play.
When you work as a team, there's a lot that can be accomplished.
Angelica Temple and her son Israel started in the program right after Carrie's death, inspired by her commitment.
I made a play where somebody hit it and then I got the ball and I ran to the base and then he was out.
Moments like these to honor her. Friends, family, and those who knew Carrie best say there's no better way.
She was a special person, and it's not too many people in the world that, especially in Omaha, that are not here today that can bring us all together today like this to celebrate.
The first pitch on the newly remodeled field is expected this fall. A rustic farmhouse style is a popular decorating look these days, but what if those pieces also shared your family's past? We'll show you a couple that has incorporated heirlooms dating back generations in their everyday living spaces when Omaha Sunday Morning continues. A door made from a chicken coop, part of an old farm tree, now a mantle and shelves filled with heirlooms. The relics our ancestors leave behind can seem like puzzle pieces, bits of a larger story. But an Elkhorn couple has now turned their old family heirlooms into works of art, giving their family puzzle pieces a proper display. Omaha World-Herald visual journalist Matt Dixon takes us back in time.
We just have lots of things incorporated down here that we really love from our families. For me, it's the chicken coop door is part our family and then part Billy's family. The wood that came from his uncle's house.
And the walnut tree came from my mother's homesteaded farm. And they planted the walnut tree in early 1900s.
So that became the mantle.
That became the mantle and the wood shelves. And
yeah.
the backside. So both our great-great-grandparents came from Norway, so they knew each other when they got to the U.S.
That came from a barn in Boone County, close to where we both went to high school. The phone is part of my family heritage, and that was a phone between my grandpa's and our farm. And then just pictures of my dad and mules and harness. My grandpa made that harness, so that's all really special to us. I have always wanted to have a place to just have these things around me versus in a box in the storage. That's what's been such a treat, is to actually just look around and see them all the time.
And they are beautiful pieces. Students in more than 1,500 classrooms throughout the country, including a few here locally, get to hang out with a pilot from Southwest Airlines every now and then. As 3 News Now morning anchor Emily Zink shows us, the Adopt a Pilot program is more than just doing experiments with students.
When it gets to that wing, some of the air is going to speed up.
Not every day like a pilot could come to your school and talk to your class.
This is what the experiment's going to be.
Every few months, Southwest pilot Captain Dennis Garrett takes time away from the sky.
What you doing?
To hang out with some 6th graders at Ashland Park Robbins Elementary School as part of Southwest's Adopt a Pilot program.
You have to get going a certain speed to get off the ground again.
Well, it was pretty interesting because I didn't really know the science behind how planes fly.
Just close. Now what happens if I turn it?
Captain Garrett says he tries to make his lessons as interactive as possible.
That is pretty cool. What happened there?
The pilot has quickly become a staple in the classroom.
I like how he taught us how to track the miles. I like that because you always wonder how to track miles on something, and this just tells you how far the cities are.
Not only has Garrett taught the students how to track his flights,
he flew from Atlanta to Milwaukee.
He's also inspired them to do what they love.
The whole goal of the program is to stay in school, get good grades, and just don't lose sight of your dreams.
It's been pretty cool because of my life I've been wanting to be a car designer, but now he's now my mind is changing to be a pilot.
In his 15th year, Garrett says he'll continue to be adopted by classrooms for years to come.
Why do you keep doing it?
For that very reason, to inspire kids.
Our In the Classroom series is part of our commitment to covering education in our communities. You can learn more about our In the Classroom series on our website, 3newsnow.com. Cover songs can be crowd favorites, but it creates some tricky business for bar owners. Ahead on Omaha Sunday Morning, editorial cartoonist Jeffrey Katurba is taking a look at music copyrights. And finally, this Sunday, a look at what's happening this week in Omaha. On Tuesday, it's an American adventure at the Durham Museum. And on Friday, Bowl for Kids' Sake for Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Midlands at Maplewood Lanes. For more information on these events and others, take a look at the community calendar on omaha.com. You know what copyrights are, but music copyrights may not be something you think about when listening to your favorite bar bands. Omaha World-Herald editorial cartoonist Jeffrey Katurba has a warning: unless something is done, many could be sipping on a cold one in silence.
I'm Jeff Katurba. I am the editorial cartoonist for the Omaha World-Herald. As a cartoonist, I've had my work lifted more times than I can count. If I had $1 for every time some blogger posted one of my cartoons without permission, well, I'd have a lot more guitars than friends. And I have a lot of friends, according to Facebook. I'm also a songwriter and musician, so I was especially interested when the Nebraska legislature began debate over a bill that would temper down those music licensing people who collect money from establishments that feature live music. Having played in bars over the years, I've heard from many bar owners about how difficult some of those music licensing people can be. But again, I'm also all about protecting copyrights. When a song is played on the radio, a log is kept which makes it easy to track which songs are played and therefore how to distribute royalties. And with modern jukeboxes, it's pretty easy to track those too. But when you have a live band, that's where it gets more challenging. I mean, how can anyone keep track of which cover songs are played? My band, Prairie Cats, plays almost all original music. In fact, it's one of my songs you hear each week during these videos. Does that mean I have to pay myself a royalty? So I got to thinking, what if musicians began playing in, I don't know, soundproof booths? Or simply thought about which cover song they wanted to play? Could that be a solution to this royalty issue? Yeah, probably not. I mean, who wants to sit around listening to the sounds of silence?
That's all for this week. Thanks for watching.